Okay, I think we could kick it off. We did our little courtesy waiting time. Thank you everyone for joining. This is our 28th community call, and welcome everyone to this event. Thank you for coming. The It's mid-August, so I'm guessing most of you have been already on vacation. I know some of or most of the guild team has been, and we're getting back together more, gathering our strengths and lots of reevaluation happening. We tried to execute it last year as well, that we do a week or two of like focus work at the end of August and early September to kind of kick off the s- beginning of Q4 and get everything together so we can have like a big few months sprint towards the end of the year. We'll try to do that again this year. Last year kind of went into us launching a bunch of features and like we did not do that. But this year we'll try again. So that's coming up soon. Otherwise, just a little forward for the call. As usual, it's recorded. It's going to be on our YouTube. So if you miss anything, or you know anyone who missed anything, or you want to re-listen to some things, it's going to be there forever, so you can check it out. And without further ado, the usual order that we do things here is that we go through some product updates, product features, a little bit of like context and meaning for these features as well, which I like to give so that there's more inspiration to why we ship things and what they're useful for. And then we'll get into a tiny bit about the pins and the campaign, and also support questions, or support new updates about that and what's going on with the product and what we've heard from you and how that's affecting everything. And then we'll get into community news and the closing part. So let's jump into it, shall we? The first section, the product updates. The first thing I want to say that we've gathered new shipments is, so, as many of you know, a lot of you here are wardens and have created guilds before. And if you haven't, please do have that experience for yourself. And if you have any feedback, still please give it to us. But so Guild is a free and permissionless product. It always been and it always will be. To create guilds is, we see it as a very essential part of how the internet is going to develop in the future. So that's very important to us, that the core functionality of Guild, of access management and connecting things that haven't been connected before, meaning websites, rewards, requirements into roles and then rewards. The guild model has to remain that way. So that means anyone can come and create a guild in under a few minutes, and there's no questions asked about it. And you'd require no allowance from anyone, or no, it costs you no money. It's nothing. It's just there to support your ventures when connecting with other folks who have similar interests to you, or creating a community, or trying to do better of keeping contact with people that you like on the internet. And but this nature of the product raises the question of, how do we know which guilds are real ones for certain projects? So this, if it's a free and permissionless product, well, how come no one just comes and creates one for another renowned project and impersonates them? Which, the answer to that is verification. It's a very, very widespread method to keep marketplace style permissionless experiences still free, but also free from these impersonators and scams. And we're finally at the stage where it makes sense. We've grown enough to introduce this, and also we can adopt it. Just we reach that stage that it makes sense. And as communities mature and grow, there's more and more value locked in a community. This doesn't necessarily mean financial value. There's invaluable information, assets, and general rewards, and privilege and prestige, and access to certain things and spaces, that's highly valuable. And it's getting more and more important that we make sure that these communities and their guilds are as safe as possible, and the members in them as well. So, yeah, for this, we are working with verification. If you're browsing the site in the past few days, you could have noticed the little blue check marks next to some guilds. These guilds have been verified by the guild team, meaning if you see this check mark next to a project, you can be quite certain about it being the original guild of the said project, and the guild team is in contact with the admins of that team. So the process here is that we're gradually verifying all growing guilds eventually. But first, the biggest projects get the check mark since they're the most vulnerable and susceptible to being copied or impersonated. Like, obviously, there's much more return of someone impersonating a big, good reputation project than an upcoming smaller community. So, sorry. We've also added this option to our search bar to sort guilds by verified um, category to make it easier for finding the legit communities you might want to join and the bigger ones that are verified, and we talk to them. So that leads us to our second update, which is more on this UI part of filters. In the Explorer, we had a few renovations on it in the past weeks that you could have seen, with more better positioning, better filters. But now we also added 3 categories there that are main. One is featured, which has been the old sorting option, which is just by the number of members of the guilds. There's the newest, which makes sense, is the newest first. And their third one, which I think is the most interesting, is the verified ones. So you can search guilds by these as well, and then also add more filters as you go. The other improvement here is that the search bar now also pops to the top of your browser when you scroll down with your guilds and explore more guilds. This way, you don't have to search for the search bar anymore when you're like scrolling too deep into the guild that you might want to see and join. So we're making baby steps of making the platform more of a platform and like a nicer browsing experience. You could, with the search bar, you could find anything that you were looking for previously, but slowly but surely, we're making sure that it's getting better and better. The next point of feature updates is we talk about this a fair amount in different contexts, but we are again working with CAPTCHA as a feature. So bots and Sybil attacks are pretty prevalent and pretty big pain points in the space generally. We're continuing to make updates to Guild and install features that combine certain verification processes to make it harder and harder. And CAPTCHA is always coming back as a solution for that in different aspects. So, what we did now is whenever a user clicks on verify the account in their wallet, so whenever they're verifying their account or creating an account, the CAPTCHA system in the back, without them seeing, checks the individual for any suspicious activity. And for users that are suspected to be bots or attackers, CAPTCHA will pop up and need it to be filled out in order to verify an account on Guild, which is pretty interesting. And since this feature has been out in the past few weeks, over 70% of the members did not receive a CAPTCHA pop up. So we can safely say that this feature doesn't really bother most of our users that we previously had, and only pops up to there's, I think, 3 risk categories that CAPTCHA analyzes, and it only pops up for the top 2, which luckily are super low in percentage. But this is interesting. I recently was in a call with a person who's building a community for one of the wallets, and they asked questions a lot about data storage, but most importantly, attacks to Guild. And it's been really interesting for me to hear his opinion and status on coming from more of like, they've been in the space for many years and coming more from a DGen background and how important privacy and security is for them. And their opinions on like the safety of Guild and how do we make sure that it's a tool that is not attacked frequently. And that really got me thinking because we have so many measures that we do that with. But it really got me thinking how much this is not a general practice in Web3, and permissionlessness is super important, but we have to combine it with some form of protection for our tooling, our infrastructure, and the apps that we use. So I'm really happy with this advancement, and also to have this conversation with this person and kind of the two things coming together to show the importance of, I mean, whatever other projects you use in your community strategy, including guilds, any feature saves so much of the attacks and the botting. Like, I think I might have to reiterate here I don't know how in touch you were with the pin campaign. We talked so much about it, but the specific one that I want to talk about is the one with Linea. So Consensus is managing that, and they partook in another campaign with Galaxy where they had millions of participants in the campaign minting their NFTs as rewards. But they were like, something's off. And so with the pins, we had a secondary role, not just a proof of joining their guild, but they had secret requirements for them so that they could filter a lot of the members of suspicious activity or activities that they didn't want to acknowledge in their community. So this way, the system cannot be gamed or botted. And interestingly, the amount of members that could go through this system was much lower, in the hundreds of thousands. I think around 200K at this point, or not even 200,000. And those members could claim the pin after joining, thus being able to continue in other parts of different platforms or campaigns. So this way, Guild positioned itself to be a filtering or access system before a campaign starts, part of a campaign, even if the campaign is done on a different platform or on Guild directly. And then after the campaign, both the pin and another NFT that you might have received in a different part of a campaign become membership requirements in Guild. So this way, we're like sandwiching campaigns, making sure that the part of the community participates in it that you really want to participate in it, and also making sure that there's always a next step for the community, so they know if they if they took the time and the effort to partake in the campaign and do the little task that you asked them to, and they claim the NFT or they received it, there's a next step. So I highly encourage everyone that does these campaigns to set up guild roles for these members and have a next step after the campaign is done. Even if that's only corresponding to a guild role, that translates to a Discord role that opens up one new channel where there's maybe a description, not even a chat channel, maybe just an announcement channel where members know what's going to happen next, or they know where to go next, or how they can contribute to the community more, or what other things they might be able to look out for in the coming weeks or months, or anything new about the project that they should know and get familiar with to be able to get into the community more and better. So yeah, the CAPTCHA going back to the CAPTCHA with this little narrative, it's a very important part of this. And I think I'm struggling sometimes to put this into a better narrative that isn't just directed towards Sybil resistance, because I feel like that's not the main importance here. Um, but there is very big significance to having tools that serve both a permissionless value while still remaining safe. And we're really working towards that. And CAPTCHA, it fits into that narrative. So, and those feature sets. So, also, one more extra value of this feature is that before this update, the checking of the account's legitimacy happened when an account interacted with a guild directly. So, but with this update now, the suspicious users can't even make accounts unchecked anymore. So they won't use any of the resources that we have in our infrastructure for checking access, having a much bigger positive side effect on our stability and speed to cater for legit users even better. So, double goody, I guess. Not only is we are providing safer tooling and spaces, but we save some infrastructure time and energy, which is pretty cool. Moving on to new supported chains, and along with that, an update to the feature that we have for checking wallet activity as requirements. So the new chain is base mainnet, as many of you could have seen. Super happy. As you know, we were one of the first tools, especially the first one for access on base testnet when they launched a few months back. And now we support base mainnet as well, as they just went live with the on-chain summer campaign as well. And we just added to the long list of support chains on Guild. Super happy about it though. You can hold any asset, which is tokens, NFTs, or even your address, and use them as requirements in guilds on base. That's what it means. Like any asset can be held on base, the chain mainnet, and used as requirements. And the wallet activity feature. So our lovely developers made a very big effort to improve the wallet activity requirement module. This feature, and usually this means interactions with the blockchain from an individual member's wallet. And we can check for many aspects of this, such as asset transfers with a given time frame as well, contract deploying, number of transactions, ages of wallets, and so on. And thanks to this upgrade that they did, this feature is so much smoother and more accurate. And it also is easier for us and the dev team to extend to other chains as well. And speaking of extending to new chains, 3 new chains have been added to this very specific feature, which I highly encourage you to use, especially in your like guarding of the community. Um, for the general membership layer, it's very useful to have members in your crypto community who have been in crypto for more than 2 days. So this feature actually helps filtering or recognizing those members accordingly, and you can set them in various ranges. You could find very OG people that hold specific assets and have been active since this very specific time as well. So the 3 new chains that have been added to this feature, the wallet activity as requirement, is Scroll, Alpha, Base Mainnet, and also Base Girly. We're very much supporting Base, as you can see. It's super, super well covered with Guild. So, yeah, that's a pretty good news. And one more thing, a feature update. I don't know, Hannah, if you want to say this or should I say it? But Bebop,
Go ahead.
go
Go
ahead.
on.
Okay, Bebop, if you know, it's one of the biggest power users of Guild. They are a DeFi project and they have pins as well and a very well set up guild. So if you need any inspiration, definitely check out their guild as well. It's Bebop. And they revamped the UI powered by Guild. So they not only are Guild power users, but they also integrated our SDK into their website so that the Guild roles show up for their users and can cultivate their community not only in Discord and through Guild, but also in their own native website and their own spaces, which is highly encouraged. Our SDK is fairly easy to use. If you do have a person who manages your websites or the apps, it's very, very worth it to have token gated parts of it and also to have Guild rules show up and translate to there. So what they did is they refreshed their UI, creating more connectivity between Bebop and the guild accounts. If you connect your wallet on Bebop and you are part of their guild, you'll see your role displayed above your wallet address within Bebop. Super cute. They have been using the SDK for some time now, but they've also been, pinned for a second, which I just talked about. And they're a lovely team to work with, of course. So we'll put a little picture of how it looks like in their site so you can have more inspiration about it into the secret chamber in Discord server right now. And yes, what I would also recommend is using your guild's link as a social link, like you would your Twitter for your project or your website or your Medium or your Mirror account, because that is kind of a hotspot or like some part of a homepage for the community. They can reach other social links from there as well. So it gives more interconnectivity between your social presences. So I highly recommend doing that as well. They also have it on the site. And then we'll jump into our, well, does this count as second? I think it counts as the second half, which will be a little bit about the campaign, just updates about what communities got pinned recently, how that's going, um, Yeah, I'll give it over to Hannah for a little bit.
Before moving forward, I just want to say how cool is that at the event stage, if you just go there, you can see that our members sharing their Bibu profile, which is super cute because it's like
That's
you can all
cute.
feel the connection between us. So it's so great.
I've not expect. Thank you guys. I've not expected this. Oh,
Yeah,
that's so nice.
you were so quick. We just mentioned it and everyone was like, Bibu, that's
Yeah.
actually and all that. Let's move forward. The next section that I want to talk about a little bit is the guild pin campaigns, how they are going and what's coming next. As Rika mentioned, we welcomed some more pinned communities, exactly 3, since we last talked. We closed July with Empire dropping a pin for their community, and then we just had Alpha Insiders launched a pin last Wednesday, and the newest member of the pin communities is Burned, who just launched today, which is super exciting because I think it happened 2 hours ago or something like this, 2 or 3. And it was really fun because we set up the pin launch as we enabled it 2 hours earlier than the big announcement. So if someone was sharp eye, they could see it immediately. And I just texted someone even before the official announcement, and he could mint it for the, I think, 200 or something like this. So there's a lot of sharp eyes out there. So with all these 3 communities, we are standing at 15 pin guilds now, and more is coming up. We are taking the last steps before the launches, finalizing the dates in the meantime. So keep your eyes open. There is a lot more coming up before, we are just introducing this whole feature in every guild. So, what I could tell you is any guild member can still grab them. So, we ensured free passes for all pin guilds to join. So, even if you haven't been a part of their guilds yet, but you want to, you can just join with a free entry, a Connect Wallet pass. Previous communities were also inspiration reward wise. So, how to build strategies and initiatives on top of the pins while rewarding belonging amongst members. So, I would highly recommend you to check them out, grab the pin. Don't forget about the leaderboard also, how the ranks are building on top of one another. We will send the tweets of all these 3 communities in the secret chamber, so you can check them out there. And I will just pass the stage back to Reka, moving forward with the other exciting news about the pink campaigns.
Thank you. Just a little note here about the winners of the guild leaderboard situation that we did. So the top 100 guilders who have been in the leaderboard season that we just did have received a Guild Mystery NFT, Guild Mystery Box NFT to their addresses, which is, to be completely honest, the first time we ever sent NFTs to anyone as a project. So it's super exciting. They received this to their native guild addresses, which is also even better, and also notice to make sure that you have your main favorite address as your main address in guild. Which they can members who receive this NFT can claim physical guild pins and little goodies um, through the website. If you guys are in it, make sure to go into the leaderboard and the site. A part of the site will pop up that's token gated, so no other person can see, only if they hold the NFT. And you can claim the goodies by giving us your shipping address where you'd like to receive them by October 1st. The bag includes, or like the physical little shipment includes the guild Lego, stickers, and the pins in their physical form, the exact pins that you claimed, which I think is very cool and personal. So you can guildify your environment. How cute. And that's about the pins. And we can move on to support. There's a few questions. And also, I see, also, thank you for Fractal Visions and Olga for being in the Twitter space as well. And in the meantime, while we do support, I'll answer some of your questions here in the chat because I see some some highly important ones. So Hannah, take over.
All right, I'm just sitting in a small office and I'm surrounded with the guild merch, which will be actually inside the boxes, the mystery boxes. And I was taking just pictures of it. So let's move forward to the support side. So you might read it in the updates or got a message from us through our support about it. Unfortunately, Twitter follow requirements are temporarily unavailable again. Twitter removed this endpoint even from their API version 1, which we introduced back last time we were talking as temporary solution. That's why you needed to connect your Twitter twice to version 1 and version 2. Unfortunately, it's not available again. When you are seeing any requirement, logic gate, and any requirement mixed with logic gates, and you will see couldn't check access at the requirements, there's a short explanation for you by hovering over the yellow triangle at the requirements. So you will be seeing there it's temporarily unavailable. We are actively investigating all the changes with the API and see what we can do about it to actually adopt to them. So thank you so much for bearing with us. If you face with anything and it's not understandable for you or you don't understand what else to do, no worries, we will be there at the support. So if you just click a button saying Twitter couldn't check access or something like this, you will get a message from us. So you will ensure you about what is up, and if there will be any changes, we will keep you updated there. So when you are sending us support requests, we are tagging your messages. So let's say you will report that okay, I have issues with Twitter. We will put a Twitter tag on your message. So once there is an update, we will just send you a message. So that's on the operational side. There's another issue that I would like to talk about, which is with Polygon ID. Last time we were telling you we integrated them, and we talked about this issue also last time. There are error generating proof issues, which are currently investigated on our end, and we are talking with the Polygon team about it and other upcoming improvements, how we can ensure smoother user experience for you all together. We are taking a bit longer time with all the summer vacations. Many of our devs are currently on vacation and also ourselves on the non-tech team. And we are doing it in a rotating manner. So the pace of the developments are understandably a bit slower. So we will, find the root of it and fix it as soon as possible. And the last issue that I would like to talk about, and there's another one I will mention. First things first, there is an account connection client-side error. Basically, you get client-side errors because your social account, for example, Telegram, Google, or GitHub, is linked to another wallet address. It shouldn't be like this. So, of course, obviously. So we are actively working to fix the issue. The fix will be live on Thursday or Friday if all goes to plan. So then you will be seeing which wallet the account is connected to. You will be able to simply disconnect it, continue, guilding smoothly. And until then, it's always good to check your other addresses. If you really cannot wait one more days, you can check your other addresses, disconnect them manually to fix the troubles yourself. But, as mentioned, it takes one more extra days. And then you won't be able to see any client-side error because of this issue. And I'm closing the support part with some update in our team. So the support will be handled by Norby in the future. So, previously I've been the one who were dealing with the support requests, checking everything and leading the whole support initiatives. But from this week onward, you guys will be speaking with Norby regarding your support inquiries through our support. You guys could met him even here, obviously, and also through our support since he was doing support a couple of months ago when he joined our team and started learning more and more about Guild. and he is actually one of the builders of the system. So we've made this change because there is also a big redesign going on, and by him handling the whole support, it will make it more seamless to send the tickets, analyze them, how we can improve. So we will come with more details about it in the next call. So thank you so much. Don't forget to share your support requests through Intercom, through Guild XYZ. So then we will be there to help you. That's all on my end. And then Rika is coming up with some community news.
Yay. Always. I feel like the support section's getting bigger and bigger as like time grows. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but Twitter's definitely always taking the stage there.
Oh, yeah.
Perfect. So thank you for that. We'll be moving on to the community news. Not too big. We've been over the summer. We have been acknowledging we've took a deep dive into the statistics that anything that we have about the server and our Telegram chats and everything, and kind of reevaluating what's going on. And it's very obvious to see how summertime really affects activity in general. Many people are on vacations, including our team and just everyone, understandably. So engagements and like input is much lower, which just gives us a perfect time. And it's kind of the best time of the year to take a second, take a step back and review our processes, reevaluate the strategies we follow, that we have in place, what we want to focus on more in the future, make improvements to our existing systems, and actually like clearing out our backlogs that we had so we can have more clarity. There's actually we've tried a few things, and many of you will be interested in this probably, so I'll share a little bit here. Um, let me pull that document up right now. Yeah. Okay, so we experiment with two things for analytics. We Guild does not collect like engagement data and stuff. I hope that's clear for all us. From Guild, what we have is the number of people in certain roles, and the one created them, and eventually there will be more, so stay tuned. That's coming in the next quarter. But for now, there's like no specifics of retention specifically through that or anything. As many of you might have seen, Discord has native statistics about the servers that you run. They're not great. There's general things work there, but it's not terribly good. Like there's so much fake data of like retention does not exist there. Like the retention there is absolutely can be considered using bots to spam a server, and that would consider it a retained member. So like that's not great. But for general things of like when the server is most active, how many people joined, how many people left, those are pretty good for even with the native Discord statistics. So I highly recommend looking into those if you've skipped on this part as a community builder, even if it's a small one. Make sure to check those semi regularly. I recommend like once a month to see how you're doing and how the sentiment is, other than just in the chats. Um, so you can have better insight of what to do next. The other thing is Norby has been playing a lot with a bot called StatBot, and there's a full like experience the way we had with this, but generally it's useful for some more insights than the Discord native ones. You can select for specific message channels, um, server overall, who sent those messages, and it's much better to finding like fully a heat map of activity. When are people most active? Not necessarily on your server, but just when are they online on Discord? When are they most active on the server in those time periods? And they give you like a full heat map rundown of it. Um, there's also obviously for voice. Essentially, like Discord's data is very focused on having voice channels being active, which for us, it's like a bi-weekly or sometimes weekly thing. We don't have voice channels just running because we are, I think, too big of a community to have secure ways of doing that. The more inner corners of our community, like the warden parts, the you know, those could work for voice, but we have not seen the value of having that open up and risking the challenges that might come with that. But somehow that's very important in terms of activity for servers. So this bot also has more insights around that. There's also a page that shows number of online users in any given hour. This is for us, it's pretty interesting. Our community is extremely international, and there's always 10% of the community online at any given time, which is super cool. We mostly use these. I won't go into deeper into like the analytics and like what percentages we see. What's very obvious is our server's most active when we have these community calls, for obvious reasons. That's not news. But what we check this for is to see more of what could we improve? How can we position these events better in time, the announcements better, so that it arrives at a good time where a lot of people are active, um, and just more general things like that. We want to make sure. I'd love more insights, by the way. Like I'd love like a mood board almost, or I don't know. We've played with a lot of tooling before. There was one bot in the server for a while called Circus, and I think they stopped developing it. But it was a pretty interesting concept that did not store data but analyzed it and then stored it that way. And and it's generally like keywords that people use and stuff like that, creating personas. It was a really cool project. I don't know if it's still running. I lost touch with the founders. We like started messaging really, really slowly to each other. Um, so yeah, I highly recommend doing these check-ins fairly often. This is a great time as it really shows, not just in our server but in other servers that we care for, that summer is actually like a low activity time. So it's focus time. That just means focus time. It's much better. There's maintenance mode and focus time. So you can have a better, stronger base to then build your next venture and next thing on. Speaking of, we're preparing some new fun stuff for the community in the next coming months. Not just, more treasure hunts, more activities, more everything that you seem to have enjoyed and we'd like to do more of with you. So more on that later. We like to be very secretive and we like to plan it out before we announce it. So stay tuned for the next few weeks when some more information comes out about that. And other than community efforts, our general communication processes are top of mind right now. The two are super intertwined. That's why I'm like kind of talking about it here a tiny bit. I think most of you who work in a community role or tend for communities, it kind of relates into a general communication role as well. So what we do now is we reevaluate and improve our creation and curation mechanisms for content and our general operational flow on that side based on some of the statistics from the server actually that also are involved in this process. So we're preparing for bigger shipments that we do in September. We already see some from the product team, kind of things that should have been shipped over the summer. Everything's going to come out at the same time in autumn. So it's going to be a lot for us to take in collectively, but in a good way. And they're amazing. And I can't wait for you to see them and use them. So we're preparing for that a little bit, doing a little groundwork. Um, I think that's about it. I'll look for questions right now in the server. Hmm. If you have any, by the way, coming up right now, feel free to shoot. I'll also look at the Twitter Spaces comment section just in case.
While you were talking, we've been answering. So I
Oh,
think it's all
amazing.
good on the event stage side.
Amazing. Teamwork makes the dream work. Take
Yes.
notes, everyone. This is teamwork. Perfect. Also, did you guys see how with like every bigger post on Twitter, there's a like a bot replying to it saying, "Jesus Christ, guys, I claim this whatever token." Like the spam things always contain Jesus Christ as like a word combination right now, which is cracking me up. Also, I hope many of you have tried Friendtech. I did not have the courage to do so. It's a new, I don't know if many of you have been around for BitClout that was happening years ago for tokenizing your social network and your social prestige and your presence on the internet. It kind of died down, uh, of course, as many of the things did. But there's this new thing called Friendtech, and you can essentially buy tokens speculating on other people's network and position in social spaces. So if you're into that, do it. I did not dare to register or partake. These tokens might very easily become securities if there's a financial aspect behind it, and I'm kind of spooked, but it seems super fun. And I hope it's not just like a 2-week thing and it sticks around. And one other thing here with the sentiment is this really shows um, that we're so back. No, but like really the experimentative, more fun, lighthearted projects that kind of just like play with every tech that we have are the things that we need right now, I think, to lighten up the space a little and open up new pathways of working and what the tech that we've built in the past years is actually used for. So it's, yeah, it's just a good, like, it's a good signpost that what I've seen now that I've been in crypto for years that things are looking up, in my opinion. So stay super positive around it. And also look out for yourself with buying other people's securities. No, it's been a great meme. It's been a great meme. Anyway, that's it for today. If there's more questions, we'll be here in the server to answer, even in the chat for the event stage, but also just in general chat and the Herald chat and whatever chat you are accessing right now with your roles that you have. And yeah, without further ado, we're done. A little closing. Also, thank you so much for joining, and it's lovely to see so many of you be in the server. It really warms my heart. I love how the actual attendance isn't in the thousands that it was 6 months ago, and we're less than 200. But I love to see these conversations and you guys sending the screenshots of your Bebop accounts already. Like, I don't know, it just feels so very interactive and what we've been working for and why we prepare for these calls so much to provide max value and for a reason to come. So thank you so much for supporting us in every way. And yes, I don't know. I'm getting warm. I'm getting warm and fuzzy and cute. So I'll just end it because I'll just start being very mushy. So thank you guys for
Thank
joining.
thank
The
you, and see you next time.